Hey everybody, this is Jim, and you're watching Talking Vintage Vendor Corner, brought to you by Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. We're a vintage store located in Central Florida, specifically at 502 West Brennan Road, Lakeland, Florida 33813. What is Talking Vintage Vendor Corner? It's a show for people who are vendors or booth owners in a shop like Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. Decades Reclaimed has over 65 unique vendors in our shop, and I'm the owner as well as a vendor. All right, let's get right into today's show. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about I've fallen and I can't get up. My sales are way down and I don't know what to do. Okay, we've talked about this before, but let's get into it a little bit more. Okay, first of all, you have to ask yourself, or you have to know, is the shop doing okay? If the shop's doing good, like Decades has been on a tear this summer. Okay, normally summertime is lower for us and our sales go way down because we're in Central Florida and it's hot. You know, we have two seasons here in Florida, hot and hotter, and that's the hotter season. So we don't get a lot of traffic in there. Part of our store is a warehouse, and so we only have one section that's air conditioned. Our traffic just goes down. We have snowbirds that come from up north. They come down during the cooler months, so they're not around the summer. So typically our summers are slower. This summer has been killer. We had a huge August, a huge September. Here we are sitting in October, in the middle of October, and we've already eclipsed what we did last year in the same month. In the middle of October, we've already beaten it. So you can just imagine what a tear we're on. And I have vendors that have not done well in both August and September. And you know, the question's always there, you know, I don't know what to do. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to tell you what to do when your sales are down. Obviously the sales at Decades are up. Okay, so you can't go back and blame it on the shop itself. Oh, the mall sucks, it's in a bad place, it doesn't do enough social media, it doesn't bring people in. And we'll talk about social media later. But so, okay, so you there's no excuse really for your sales to be down. So, I mean, you have to ask yourself, now you have to look and you have to say, well, what have I done? The first thing is, what have I done? My sales were bad in August. What did I do between August and September? And usually the answer is not very much or nothing. Well, if you didn't do anything when your sales were low, how can you expect your sales to come up? The shop is increasing its sales, but you're not increasing your sales because you haven't done anything. You have to work your booth. You have to work it. Okay, you have to get in there and move stuff around. Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's the short answer right there. If you haven't done anything, that's the problem. You can't continue to do nothing and hope your sales go up. They won't increase. Okay, if the store sales are increasing and yours aren't, I don't see how your sales can increase the next month. You haven't done anything. So we have vendors back in August. Well, I didn't do very well. I say, okay, well, you need to bring in some new stuff, move some stuff around, because that's the key. Bring in new stuff, okay, and move stuff around. Some of the old stuff you have, when you move it around, becomes new stuff. Let me give you an example of that. Just recently, we have the Twins Boutique. It's two twin ladies that are in their booth, that have a booth, and they share it. They're sisters, of course, because they're twins. How could you be twins and not be sisters? I don't know. Anyways, so they come in regularly, probably once a week, and they shuffle their booth around. They add stuff in, always add some stuff in, not a great amount, not half their stuff, not a quarter of their stuff, just some stuff they add in, but they shuffle it around. Okay, I told you we would talk about social media. We're going to touch on it right there. Then they take pictures of their booth. They have their own page, Twins Boutique, okay, and they post up, hey, new to the shop or whatever. And it's not necessarily all their new items, it's just the new setup they have. And so here's my story. So this lady comes in, she comes in on a Wednesday, and she goes to their booth. She loves their booth. She buys some stuff or whatever. She turns around on Thursday and sees the post that they did. Okay, sees the post that they did, comes back on Friday and buys more stuff because they had brought new stuff in. Well, the thing is, they didn't bring new stuff in. They had done this shuffle on Tuesday. When she came in on Wednesday, she missed it. They put their social media post out on Thursday, and she saw those items that she had missed when she came in on Wednesday. They were there all along. She came back in on Wednesday, and their booth alone spent over $100 on those items. So, I mean, it just goes to show you that people don't always see what you have. So you have to shuffle. You have to move stuff around. And again, you know, social media, and we'll get into that a little bit later. Social media is a key to that. So there you go. So you haven't done anything, and you haven't done that. You haven't shuffled anything. You haven't brought in anything new. Maybe price is your issue. We have a lot of vendors when they're getting ready to move out or whatever, they participate in one of our sales that we have. We don't allow our vendors to have sales on their own. They have to participate in shop-wide sales or not participate, but that's the only way they could put their items on sale. We are experimenting with move-out sales now for when somebody's leaving and allow them to have a move-out sale. We have one currently going on right now, but we're not sure we're going to stick with that. Typically, our vendors are not allowed to put their booths on sale. Okay, they have to participate in store-wide sales, which we have coming up. We have our Junk and Treat coming up for the end of October. That's our next sale. We'll have a Black Friday sale coming up in November. December has a sale, and then we have a year-end sale. So we have different sales. I apologize. There's a lawnmower outside. The guy's mowing the lawn next door. So if that noise is bothering you, I apologize. So, all right. So there we go. So back to that. So the sale. So if you haven't been selling items and then you participate in a sale, and let's just say you go 50, 75% off and you sell a ton of stuff, that kind of tells you maybe your pricing is an issue. So even though if you can't have a sale, maybe you could, like, we are allowed to do sale tags here at Decades. So what I do is I have these little red tags that I have, and they say 50% on them. And what I do is I take them and I staple them behind a tag of an item that I know it's been in there for a while, and I move it into an area of one of my booths, kind of a sale area, and that just lets the customer know it's 50% off. And then at the end of the month, I take the tag back off and I reuse them. So these are my tags that are ready to go out and put on. So that's one way I change my pricing. Maybe you can just mark it down, put a sticker on it with the new pricing. But if you have a sale and you put your stuff on sale and you sell a lot, that tells you your price point's probably off. So make sure you're readjusting that. So we've got, okay, you got to shuffle things, you got to bring in new stuff, and then you've got to turn around and you've got to change your pricing. Okay, change your pricing. Maybe you have access to like hens on a nest or something that's hot, and you bring them in and they're not selling. Well, they're hot, they should sell. Check your pricing or whatever. So, okay, you've fallen and you can't get up. You're not making the sales, but the shop is okay. You got to do something. You got to do the work. I know it's hard. Everybody says, well, I don't have the time to do that. Well, maybe the business isn't for you because it takes time. It took time for you to find a location, bring all that stock in, set up your booth. You can't just leave it, okay? I'm not saying you have to have equivalent time that it took to do all that, but you have to spend time on it. How much time? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I know the most successful vendors that we have in the shop, the ones that do well all the time, are the ones that are here all the time. And I'm not just talking 10, 15 minutes. You know, I'm talking they spend maybe an hour, maybe two a week in their booth, moving stuff around and bringing stuff in. Okay, they're successful because they shuffle the stuff. They're successful because they come in with new stuff all the time too. They're not just coming in and moving their stuff around. So they're moving their stuff around. They're bringing in the new stuff, and then a lot of them will utilize markdowns in their booth. So the three things I told you that you need to do are the three things that make vendors successful here at Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. So that's it. I mean, you gotta spend the time doing it. You gotta move the stuff around. You gotta change the pricing on it, and you have to be willing to put it in. If you can't do the time, then this isn't the thing for you. Okay, well, that's it for that topic, I think. So hopefully, if you've fallen down in sales, you'll use some of this advice. Maybe you won't. Maybe you can come up with your own solution to the problem. If you do, or if you know of something I've missed that works well for you, please put it in the comments down below. If you haven't done it already, give this video a like, maybe subscribe to us. I know we don't have a lot of subscribers. If you found this, it was probably by accident. If you watched the whole entire video thus far, you're probably bored to death and you just needed something to do. All right, let's see. Let's go on to something else. Let's talk about a little bit about social media. We had touched on that earlier. I think part of the reason that Decades Reclaimed has done so well in the summer months is our social media presence. We went on a push in the springtime to get our vendors to do their own social media, to have their own page. They are a business within a business. They are like a store in a mall, a classic mall. Can you imagine Sears anchoring a big mall and doing nothing in advertisement and expecting the mall to do it? That's not how it works. And it shouldn't work that way in your shop. Each individual booth owner or vendor should have their own social media presence, and they should utilize that social media presence to bring people to the shop, to bring people to their booth. Now, often when you're doing social media and you bring somebody in, it doesn't correlate to direct sales. Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's sales for everybody that's in the shop. We do something we call the hustle here in Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. A few of us that are higher up on the food chain, we do the hustle. We take items that we put on Facebook Marketplace, and then we direct people to the shop when they're wanting to purchase it. Now, we are a vintage shop, so most of the time it's vintage, but I have an area in the shop that I can keep things that aren't vintage, and that's what I do. I put the item on Facebook. I have them come to the shop. I give them the address. I don't go out of my way pretty much. I just say, you know, here are the days you could pick it up. Let me know when you're on the way. They come in. Oh, I didn't know you were here, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes they pass on my item and they go and they shop through the shop and they buy somebody else's. So it didn't directly affect me. I didn't sell the item that I wanted to sell, but I brought people in. So that's just one way to do it. And, you know, at first I was saddened by the fact that they didn't buy my stuff, and then maybe angered because they bought somebody else's. But then at the end of the day, you know, it's just to help. It helps the shop as a whole. Now that person knows that we are here and they're going to come back. They're going to shop again, and maybe they'll buy something of my own. It goes back to, you know, is my stuff, you know, have I moved it around? Have I priced it right? You know, and is it a new item that I brought into the shop? So, I mean, social media is it. You know, you got to do it. I know it's a pain. I know it's difficult. We have a lot of vendors that are getting up there in age, and they're not familiar with social media, so they don't do a lot with it. But you got to give it a chance. I read all these things online about these shops and how successful they are. And if you dig into it, if you look at it, a lot of it's the social media presence. Now, here at Decades, we don't just sit on our butts and do nothing. We do a ton of stuff. You know, we have coming up our big sale at the end of October. It's our junk and treat sale. I mean, we're pushing it out there. It's all over the place. We do posts every single day almost. We do videos for it. We talk about it in a Facebook show that we do, and you can check that out if you check out our Facebook page, Decades Reclaimed Vintage Depot. You'll see every Tuesday night we have a show that comes up, and it talks specifically about the things that are happening at the shop and the events that are coming up. We plan lots of events. That helps us out, and we promote them on social media. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on YouTube, of course, YouTube here. We have a presence on Whatnot. We have a website at decadesreclaimed.com, and we have a monthly newsletter that we send out every month to people who don't have social media. So there's lots of different ways to do it, and you just got to do it. You have to do it as a booth owner as well as the store doing it. Okay, so that's it. There you go, guys. That's my show for tonight. I appreciate everybody watching. And if you haven't done so already, please give it a like. Give me a follow if you can. I'd appreciate that. If you can share the video, that's fantastic too. Just trying to grow this little channel. We've been doing it for a long time now, and the growth is just a little bit at a time. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, put them in the comments down below. I'd be happy to get some feedback. Tell me I'm full of crap if you want to. That's okay too. All right, guys. We'll see you again next time. Have a great night.